All right, so I'm going to start working example problems from the Introduction to Stoichiometry Practice assignment on its learning. So if you see the assignment and you open it, it will look something like this. You'll notice at the top I have these 4 steps right here on how to do stoichiometry. Hopefully those are already added to your notes. So the problems that I'm going to be working are these practice problems together. So number 1 is how many moles of CO2 are produced when 10 moles of C3H8 are burned in a gas grill. So if I look at my steps, you'll notice I'm going from moles to moles. All right, so I'm going to skip some of these steps where it starts talking about mass or grams. So step 1 is to make sure you have a balanced chemical equation. So I am going to write this equation. So C3H8 plus O2 yields CO2 plus H2O. So if I look back, my first step is to have a balanced equation. So I'm going to do my CHO. So I have 3C, 8H, and 2 O's. On the side, I have 1 C, 2 H's, and 3 O's because I have 2 here and 1 here. So I'm just going to start with carbon. All right, if I have 3 on one side, I want to get 3 on the other. So I'm going to add 3 here and have 3 times 1 now gives me 3. But I've also changed my oxygen. So 3 times 2 gives me 6, plus this one over here gives me 7. All right, so I fixed my carbon, and now I'm going to try and tackle hydrogen. So if I have 8 on this side and 2 on this side, I know that if I multiply 2 times 4, that's going to give me 8 here. So that balances, but now I've also changed my oxygen because I added the 4 to this oxygen. So it's 4 times 1 is 4, plus the 6 I already had, which gives me a total of 10. So when I'm going to try and balance my oxygen, I realize that if I just multiply 2 times 5 here, it gives me 10, and everything gets balanced. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add a 1 here just in case we need to do mole-to-mole ratios. But now I've done step 1, which is a balanced chemical equation. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this part and leave up my balanced chemical equation. Okay, so step 2 says to convert from grams to moles. We're starting with moles in this problem. So I'm going to skip that step and go to step 3. Convert from moles of the given to moles of the unknown. So that's what I'm going to do. So first, I'm going to write the moles of the given, which was given to me in the problem, which is 10.0 moles of C3H8. And I'm going to go ahead and show where my unknown is because I need to know what mole-to-mole ratio to use. So I'm trying to find moles of CO2. So I'm going to write that over here. Okay, so the way that you do this is with dimensional analysis. So just a reminder, that's where you start off with this T-chart thing. And your given always goes up here in your top left. So my given is this 10 moles of C3H8. Okay, so given goes here. The next step when I'm trying to go from moles to moles is I need to use my mole-to-mole ratio. And that's what we got from our notes. So I'm going to be looking specifically at the 2 compounds that I'm trying to convert between. So in this case, that's the C3H8 right here and the CO2 right here. So for the rest of the problem, I don't need to worry about O2 or H2O because that's not what I'm trying to convert between. So if I have my C3H8 up top here, that means if I want to cancel it out, which I do because I'm trying to get into moles of CO2, I need to make sure that I have C3H8 on the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and put moles. And my other moles I'm trying to convert to is moles of CO2. So the next step is to fill in my numbers for my mole to mole ratio, which I just get from my coefficients. So my mole of C3H8, I'm going to get from up here. So that number is 1. And then my moles of CO2, I'm going to get from here, which is 3. All right, so if I look, I've canceled out moles of C3H8, moles of C3H8, and I'm just left with moles of CO2. And that's actually what I'm trying to find. So this is an easy one-step problem. So now I'm going to do my math. So remember, this is where you multiply across the top. So 30.0, multiply across the bottom. It ends up just being 1, and then you divide. So 30.0 moles of CO2. All right, and that has answered my question. So you'll notice I also skipped number 4 in my steps, converting from moles to grams, because my question asked me to stop at moles. So I put all 4 steps, but you may not use all 4 depending on what your question gives you and what your question asks of you. All right.